Today, we're doing a deep dive on the failures of And Just Like That, starting with the Writers Room podcast and Michael Patrick King. Oh, goodness. It's the weekly roundup. Hey guys.
Hey, we're still in mourning. What? I'm still so disappointed with what has happened.
Oh my God. I actually still am reeling. This is technically the first video since the fallout of the finale of what is being deemed by many as the worst series finale in history. They're deeming the entire thing sex and the shitty. Oh, well. Here we are. It's Pod in the City with Joan and Amanda. We're here every week. And this week, for our weekly roundup, you know, who knows what? We're transitioning. We're finding our footing of who we are and what we want to be. And we thought we would get into some of the reasons why And Just Like That was so bad. But really, as we've been noting, especially in our coverage of season 3 of And Just Like That, the final season, as we'll call it from now on, the Writers Room accompanying podcast, Amanda has been diligently covering it all season long, and she went through the arduous task of listening to the episode for the finale, and she pulled some clips for us that are going to shock and awe me. Actually, before we do that, though, guys, can you hit subscribe if you're watching us on YouTube? Hit like, hit share, baby, because we're live every week. And what we're going to start doing this week, Friday, is do like a rewatch live of season 1 of And Just Like That. Oh, baby, at 2 p.m. EST. Basically, what you do is you're going to watch season 1, episode 1, and then you're going to come join us on our live at Friday, 2 p.m. EST, and we're going to decide, you know, really, I'm going to be looking on there and saying, like, okay, why did they cut this storyline? Or, man, they could have fleshed this out and made it into something. Really, this is a hate watch rewatch, because we've just learned this pesky new term called hate watching. Did you guys know, people?
I learned about it from the Writers Room podcast. They explained it to me.
What a perfect transition, right?
Yeah, I also want to say that Joan came on to me and Jody's live on Monday. He popped in there in his slutty little mesh shirt, and everyone loved him. And we talked about. I mean, I'm still reeling about this. I know that sounds like I'm making fun of that, but dramatic. I've been thinking about this a lot, and like it's a lot of my content on TikTok that's coming up for me. But like, we have a right to be upset about this. Like, the whole thing seems so antagonistic from the writers from the beginning, and it's not our fault that you got canceled. So like, don't punish us for this.
I don't think that the finale episode really was even a punishment, though, for that. I think
because they didn't have a chance to.
I think that that's what they thought the show was, and unfortunately, as a person who I would like it to have continued for another season, just to quote unquote watch it. But I still, after the finale, I was like, I hate this. I'm over it. You guys suck. You're terrible. And what it really comes down to is SJP and MPK have both come out with very, very similar feelings about the audience and the reaction about their show. And their overall feeling, unless you have a clip of it, is, people don't like the show. I actually don't care. They have both said in the last week they do not care what the audience thinks about their show because it was so massively successful. I'll say, though,
doubling down.
Obviously wasn't successful enough to keep going. And really, you know, over as time falls out, I have my other reasonings too of why I think it's like, I think the money itself of the series.
That's what Heather McDonald was just saying that on her podcast today, that like she's like, in the last episode, we had this big wedding dress sequence at this like beautiful place with all of these wedding dresses, like this fashion show. And she's like, in a 28-minute episode, that must have cost so much money for this set piece that like, I think it did come down to the fact that HBO was like, look, we're getting roasted in the comments every time we post anything having to do with this show. And every episode is costing us millions of dollars. And it doesn't seem like any of you want to be their writers or Sarah Jessica Parker.
I also don't think that HBO is known as a network that like has shows that are deemed bad.
That's a good point, actually.
They have shows that are considered good. And so even if people were hate watching their show, I think even just for perspective, like, do you want a show that like everyone's like, wow, this show is shit? It demeans and tarnishes the HBO brand itself.
I can't even think about it. If I think of HBO shows off the top of my head, they're all cult classics or hits, like Weeds. Dexter?
Weeds was Showtime.
Weeds was Showtime too. See, it's
Sopranos.
Sopranos, The Wire, Oz, Nurse Jackie. Is that Showtime?
I mean, that won a bunch of awards. Wasn't that Showtime though too?
No, I think that was HBO. Well, either way, those paid cable shows were prestigious, and you're right. Like people didn't talk badly about them. That's why you were paying extra for them.
You know, I do want to preface though, if you're here and you don't like to listen to high-pitched, whiny gay people have opinions, probably turn the video off.
Especially if you're also seem to be a member of the LGBTQ community.
I'm just going to say, we got a comment the other day saying, your guys' takes are okay, but why do these high-pitched gays always have to complain about stuff? They're the worst gays in existence.
You should listen to the Writers Room podcast.
Mind ya, what are you expecting? What like, this is not a cooking. It's not like you're listening to a cooking show or something. This is a dissection podcast, shit talking thing. Whatever. I'll leave it at that. But join our Patreon, guys. It's patreon.com/podinthecity. Because last week we did a live reaction to the finale, and oh boy, I was incensed. The pie in the face, I am still angry about it. Yeah, I'm angry about that. Now, in the finale, certain things happened, and that's what we're going to dive into today, kind of, is like, what were the things that MPK brought up? What are these clips? Yeah. Amanda has clips.
I have a bunch of clips, and I think all of them actually will guide us into some good discussions here. Oh, by the way, guys, nothing else really happened this week pop culture wise. And we're like, seriously, there was nothing else to talk about. And we want to just keep talking about this while everyone's still talking about it, because it's everyone of it. But all of these are, we need to listen to these and the idea that they did not know when they recorded these clips, this Writers Room podcast, that they were canceled yet. Okay. So
they talk about it like it's the season finale.
Exactly. So they're still, and they obviously recorded all of them like at the beginning of the season, all in one big chunk. So they all seem very tired, and they're all still not knowing what the response is, and they all think that this is going to go over well. So a lot of it is just them laughing at their own jokes, as we know. But I took some clips that, as I was mopping the cement floor of my crawl space and listening to this, I had to like stop and like go and record it while I was kneeling on the ground, because some of these are wild. Okay.
Well, and really this feeds into today's thesis statement or whatever, that Michael Patrick King really is the ultimate blame for the failure of And Just Like That. And really, this is going to be, I think, further evidence to the idea that he is really out of touch with
and
reality, I guess.
I think that these writers were obviously kind of in this bubble, in this vacuum together. So they were drinking the Kool-Aid. And I guess if I was in there too, I'd probably be like, oh, that was really funny. Everyone else is laughing so hard, so this must be funny.
This is like, though, there's power dynamics in the writer's room situation, because MPK is the writer, and then these are his like supporting people that help him get to where he's trying to get, right? Yeah.
But it seems very clear you're not allowed to.
He's in charge. It's not like there's a So it's I want to hear one. Let's go.
Okay, this one is just really quick, but it's gonna inform a lot of just the kind of comedy that Michael Patrick King thinks that us, his
and I will say
audience,
that's an issue of this. Is like the poop scene. I think they genuinely thought that was funny, right?
Yes. Okay. It was great. Oh, perfect. Okay, I've entitled this The Pied Piper. Okay, and this is just going off of.
Yeah.
Did you listen to this one?
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
And Carrie, here she is, the Pied Piper, literally just delivering pies. She's Puck in Midsummer Night's Dream. She's running around, knocking on doors, handing out pies. And each of the pies is specific to what she thinks that people will like. And then people are bailing. Anthony's going.
So right there, she's the Pied Piper. She's literally handing out pies. So this is the theme of the finale. Okay, even if it's just.
Do we know what? First of all, does he understand that the Pied Piper had nothing to do with pies?
That's why I took this clip. He lives just in a world of puns. And I didn't get that from watching that. I wasn't like, John, she's the Pied Piper.
Also, the Pied Piper's whole bit was like, wouldn't they like entrance children or something?
Yes. Also, she's piping.
The other piece of that was that she has these. We are supposed to believe that Carrie Bradshaw specifically chose all of these pies for these specific people, even though the original intention was that they were all going to be together at the same time. So let's be real, right? That was her original intention when buying them. But now we've decided that lemon meringue is perfect for Miranda and Julia because they're sweet and sour.
Yeah, and
just time wasted. That's a point. In this series, they have, in the creation of it, in all of it, they wasted so much time, effort, resource, and money on shit that you should have put that in you should have just put it in your overall story. Like, Michael Patrick King should have gone wherever, to one of his multiple estates somewhere, I'm sure, hold himself up and written, what is your story going to be of your series? Because I don't think that they ever went in really. I think they went in thinking, well, we have to kill Big because he Me Too'd someone, which multiple people, understandably. And then we're going to make Miranda a lesbian, which I think is perfectly fine. There's a lot of people who argue that they wish they wouldn't have made Miranda a lesbian. For me, I think that storyline makes actually perfect sense. I just wish they wouldn't have put her with Che Diaz. Or they would have made Che Diaz less of a sex hound, because that's not really what I need.
I wish they'd shown it more the way an actual late in life lesbian more would be like in my head, which would be, I'm married to this guy. I love him. It's just kind of stagnant. There's something missing. And then maybe her meeting Joy and then having a whole season long of like them being really good friends and having chemistry and it not being Che Diaz coming at you with her pussy.
No, that's another issue is the way that they flesh out stories. They will spend one episode to flesh out an entire thing and get you somewhere, like Harry's cancer. Or they'll take 3 seasons to then still not wrap up the story, like the freaking documentary that LTW was making for a decade and still they couldn't even end it by saying Michelle Obama's going to do the voiceover. They ended it by saying she might do the voiceover.
I'm dying to know what that stipulation was, that someone on Michelle's team was like, you're going to say maybe.
I truly believe that it was never going to be. I don't think she was ever going to be. And I think that was a place you could have tied it up a little better for your finale, is done a ADR of someone saying, Michelle Obama's going to narrate your documentary. That would have been rather a wrap up instead of we'll see.
And the other thing, I think it's just very clear that a big problem, they shouldn't have they shouldn't have done the Writers Room podcast because they're giving us too many pieces of information. But the fact that they dropped that time that it's impossible to do these big party scenes because nobody can ever film at the same time, then what are you like? Don't even do it then, honestly. If you're not going to end with these 3 ladies together, Um,
And I don't want to be a bitch, but I'm not quite understanding how you couldn't get them all together.
yeah, Cynthia
I
Nixon is doing the Gilded Age, but other than that,
Cynthia
everyone
Nixon
else
would
is
be.
pretty.
I'm going to take a wild guess, though, that they needed to work around SJP's schedule more than anyone's.
Yeah, because also Cynthia Nixon, Gilded
Yes.
Age is on HBO, so they could have just worked that out among themselves. Yeah, just saying.
I'm pretty sure they schedule that all. I don't think the reason that they had to do separate filmings, they're doing all this accommodation is for Cynthia Nixon. I think they're doing it for
say yes to everything.
our Carrie, who again has been doing these interviews where she's like, what do you, someone asked her and they're like, what do you think about people's feelings that like Carrie has changed? Like, I mean, these people are asking real.
You're on mute. You're on mute. We're back.
Lord technology. Someone leave a comment how annoying our technology is.
All
anyway, Sarah Jessica Parker is being interviewed and they're like, what do you think about people's feelings that Carrie has changed? And again, SJP refuses. Like, it's like they refuse to just acknowledge anything. It's like, well, if Carrie has matured, then yes, like she is definitely matured. And then like the comments immediately under it are like, how has she matured if she was willing to wait 5 years to go back with Aiden? That's maturity, really, Carrie? So
Michael Patrick King has taken a very antagonistic approach to the viewers, whereas Sarah Jessica Parker has taken more of just an apathetic approach, where like in all of her interviews like with Bowen and Matt and like Howard Stern, it seems like she's being forced to these interviews at gunpoint, and like all she wants to do, like she's like agoraphobic, and she's like, oh, here I am in this big time podcast studio, just very like, well, I'll answer your questions, I guess. Just weird, just very like, I don't want to be here, which is how it seemed like she was acting the series too. I don't want to be here.
That's what I was just going to say, is that like she has let too much of herself be controlling of the character of Carrie, as opposed she's looking to herself to how Carrie would mature and grow. But when it came down to it, Sarah Jessica Parker, you truly weren't ever really Carrie. You were just actually more willing to, I don't know, be silly kind of, or like be more willing,
likable
kind of. But even if you go back and watch the regular series, it's not like she was the best part. I mean, we know what the best part of the original series.
It's been more than clear based on this, especially.
This show showed us.
Let's look at this one. You're gonna hate this one. I sent this to you, but I don't know if you clicked on it.
I love the sort of Stephen Sondheim counterpoint of this scene, because as you just laid out, there are these 4 very different points of view, and then it's all illustrated and counterpointed by this ultimate fantasy representation of what a wedding is.
Yeah, it couldn't be prettier. And the other interesting thing that Seema said,
I think now listening back, maybe it's just from the word counterpoint. Is that where they're tossing?
I think that's what they're trying to say, is that the Sondheimness is that in that these multiple conversations are having different points going on at the same time, which that's not Sondheim still, but it's okay. It's okay. Before it was just about that they were talking about marriage. That was what I had been told.
I took it too far. Like, I turned that crazy thing into like something even like better than what she actually meant it.
Look at their podcast, and I think like, now I'm not a huge I don't listen to a ton of podcasts, so like, you know,
I do.
I'm not the number one audience, but like if I'm gonna listen to a recap, at least I'm gonna listen to like one like Ours where there's like jokes in it. There's just even listening to that, it's like that's just so boring. Like, who gives a crap?
The girls will sometimes try to kind of have some banter, and Michael Patrick King gets so mad, and like he becomes very patriarchal, I would almost call it. Of just okay, it's just women, just a man is talking. He's such a dick. But just if you guys listen to the tone right there, it's just them drinking their own Kool-Aid. Like they're all like, yes, Yes, absolutely. That couldn't be prettier. Like,
and this is actually literally referencing such a baseline nothing. I mean, it is a scene where there are two pairs of people. One pair are talking about the worries of marriage, and the other ones are talking about how great marriage is, but it's also kind of bad.
But they're calling they've in their heads, they think this is so deep. They've made a counterpoint to compare to Sondheim.
I wish I would have taken my blood pressure at the beginning of us recording this, and then by the end, because I'm already getting annoyed, because I'm just like, if you wouldn't have been so up your own asses about your show, you might have made a good show. You were trying, you thought you were someone, or you think you are someone or something, and it's like, then you put out complete and utter garbage that no one even wants. I mean, I want it. Give me Che Diaz back, baby.
Oh my God, I can't wait. Okay, let's listen to this.
Anthony and Giuseppe, and they are sitting there, and just obviously they've had the conversation about, you think I want a mommy rather than Mary? And he says, I don't know the words in English.
That was good.
So he picks up a pie and hits him in the face. Literally, how can there not be? And I think I just want to comment that every pie that was picked was for a reason. The chocolate cream pie is because it's just so funny to get hit with a chocolate cream pie. But that goes in.
You're a moron, dude. Because the reason you chose...
Listen.
So allegedly you chose for Miranda and Joy, you chose lemon meringue because they're sweet and sour. And then you chose for Anthony and Giuseppe a chocolate cream because it's the best to pie them with. What was your logic here, sweetie? You can't act like you had some overarching, like, you know what? I laid there and I thought, what would pair up with George Washington? Well, you know what? Cherry pie would have.
See, no, and that's the thing. It's like, that's what you shouldn't be focusing on. You should be focusing on Anthony's story. Even for the season finale, you're wrapping it up and that's the thing, is he's so out of touch with the comedy nowadays. Is he's laying in bed thinking of fucking Three Stooges-esque comedy here. Nothing's funnier than a pie in the face. But do you hear them all laughing? Like, do you hear how they're gassing each other up there?
The problem, though, too, is he did grow up in the time where, like, his basis is Three Stooges, and if he's like regressing back to whatever me.
Okay, but my argument, John, would be that he wrote Sex and the City.
It boggles the mind. It truly does. But I just think it has to do with the money and out of touchness. That's it. That's it. He doesn't know how normal humans function at this point. He doesn't spend his time around normal human beings. And he made his show about people who are not normal human beings either. And the problem is, at the base of it, at the base of Sex and the City, even through all the fantastical shit, even through wild things happening, I would believe that I would walk into one of these four. I believe that these four women could exist. I don't necessarily believe they would be best friends, but I believe these four women would exist. We've now moved into this subsection of the 1% that, like, we're out of touch with. Like, and I'm not saying I need my television to be in touch. Trust me. I love Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
I love the Real Housewives, but with that, there's a layer of delusion, and I'm not following that thinking, oh my God, like, how are they going to end up? Like, who are they going to end up with? No, that's me watching people act stupid and have petty, dumb fights and live exorbitant lifestyles. This is you doing exorbitant lifestyles of people who then seem bored and hating their lives. Honestly, Carrie, for 3 straight seasons, seemed miserable, and she still didn't have a deep conversation about losing her husband, because you know what? That could actually make me understand her being miserable. But we never...
The writer, it's also very clear, another reason why they shouldn't have done this podcast is that it's very clear that they're not writing this for us, the audience. They're writing it for those 6 writers who all have had experiences in their lives. We saw someone putting on deodorant this time. I have issues with my mother-in-law. It's for those 6 people to, like, come together and be like, let's have some inside jokes and write them into
Strangely, Actually, I don't even think it's for those 6 people. I think that these people are just meeting a quota. When you are given a show for no real reason except that you had a previous show, it was not like they sold us. It's not like Michael Patrick King went into HBO and was like, you know what? I've got a story to tell or some fucking shit. It was like, how can we make money?
Would never be picked up.
That's what I mean. It's like, it was just given a green light in a way of like, so, hey guys, we got to write an episode. So shit, what ideas do you have? They're not inspired. They don't really care. It's more like, oh, well, shit, we got to make episodes. So what are some crazy things you guys experienced recently? And I found out that Tommy Tomato thing is a real thing at a restaurant.
In Flushing, which is about, God,
well,
an hour at
Carrie would never be there.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
There's no way Carrie would be there.
But it's also an optional thing, is what I've found out. Where in the show, they play it as though like every single woman that goes in the restaurant gets forced to have this stuffed thing with them, which they think is so kooky and out. It's just the out of touchness. I mean,
now I have 2 more clips, and they're both very focused on it. It really is going to show you the indignation they have for their audience in one clip. And then the other clip is about how they're not taking our advice. They're not reading the room, and they're just not. This is how they think we're receiving the show, and they refuse to acknowledge that it's not being received this way. So I'll start with that one.
They also, though, seem to have be hung up on this idea that this show was so successful, but I don't ever see it receiving an ounce of critical success. So yes, I guess it had viewership, but like, I
saw that it lost 60% of its viewers over time.
Okay.
So it's not doing great.
I'm ready now.
Okay, this is called Mamma Mia. So this is them talking about how they think we are receiving Mia and her 2 friends, which according to every source of content creation I've seen over the week, everyone agrees that all 3 of these people are like offensive stereotypes of Gen Z. Like,
they are.
I'm an old millennial bitch, but like, even I'm like, they're not like that. Like, okay,
there are some people like
there are, but like, Jesus, like, this is the Che Diaz of a 20-year-old.
That's their constant issue here, is that they want to like insert wokeness into their show, but they made every character involved in wokeness a caricature. In a way where it almost seems like you're just making fun of these people as opposed to lifting them up. So what are you really trying to do, Michael Patrick?
Okay, here we go.
Shocking. Perfect setup for the fact that the next people that come in, one of them is lactose intolerant. Anyway, the door opens up and it's Mamma Mia and her 2 roommates, Epcot and Silvio. I mean, it's like an animated Disney film shows up suddenly. They open the door and there are these 3 characters. And Mamma Mia is kind of sweet.
Played by Ella Stiller, by the way.
So many different levels. That could have been the most obnoxious character that you just wanted to smack, and you end up actually falling in love with her.
Because when Silvio...
Okay. I could have had you stop that at 5. I could have had you stop that 5 times. What did you say?
What were you doing at the beginning there? You were like mouthing along the words?
I was lip syncing. I was like fake lip syncing.
Okay, well, there's a delay. So it was really, it was like, I'm like too stoned for that. I was like, what just happened? Wait, do you want me to play that?
You thought it was me talking. The first thing that offends me from that one is all of it. But saying that them arriving at the door is like 3 Disney characters arriving. So that's what. So
it is kind of. So it's them admitting that they're caricatures, that we're not really trying to create real people.
Have accused you of using these things as prop caricatures in your show. You actually were. That wasn't even just an accusation. That's like your general. That's like that was your.
This is the one that I was on hands and knees on the cement floor of my basement, and my mouth dropped open when I heard them say, this could have been a really insufferable character, but it turns out everyone just turns out loving Mia. And I was like, do you think that?
I need right now in a comment, wherever you are watching this, hearing it, I don't care, put it in a review, give us 5 stars. But right, did you fall in love with Mia? I need a temperature check from the audience.
Did you think we were supposed to fall in love with Mia? Because I thought it was written for us to dislike her a lot, like extreme dislike of this character.
I thought she was an utter atrocity in the finale. Like, one, she makes Brady go get cucumbers and seaweed. Then he comes back and she's eating cheese and he's like, I thought you only ate cucumbers and seaweed. And she's like, mind you, I think they're trying to get in with the Stiller family or something, because they said her name 50. They just said Stiller 12 times. And then they're like, she's hilarious. This is her delivery of her line. Hey, man, it is what it is. Ugh.
They go on after this clip to be like, do you notice though? Because like her one friend is a little rude and Mia is just so mortified. I'm like, no, she really was. All Mia said was, oh, that's just Silvio. She gets like that. And he goes, he do. I'm like, that wasn't Mia being mortified.
Please, guys, let us know. Did you fall in love with Mia? They're claiming by the end of that clip that we just played that the audience ends up falling in love with Mia. And I also want to cancel their podcast solely because now I am realizing they only named her Mia so they could reference her as Mama Mia in the podcast even.
Yep. Now,
I hate them.
This, if you can listen, you can hear the rumblings there, is that they're setting up these 3 characters for next season, meaning if there had been another season, these 3 characters would have been all over it. That's why they got so much airtime in the finale. Again, these people don't know that the show is canceled when they're recording this. So like they clearly, like Mia and those 2 friends were clearly going to be in the whole next season.
I don't understand the logic behind any of it. Like I genuinely do. I think it has to boil down to him being just completely out of touch. Because again, you've started your show with these characters, right? And that's what you're carrying over from Sex and the City to And Just Like That. You ruined your characters, except Charlotte, except that her acting has gotten something's going on.
Do you see that somebody posted in our Facebook group? It's like a screenshot of what's her name, Kristen Davis, and she's like, and like she looks pissed, and then the person's like, this was her turning around after Harry said Charlotte.
I did see that actually.
I was like, oh,
I did see that. I just think, again, they were offered the opportunity to make a show. They took the money and thought, fuck it. And then SJP thought, you know what? I'm going to pick out every outfit that I want to keep in my own personal closet later. Because, that's in her contract, is that she keeps all her outfits. So she picks every outfit that she wants to keep personally for her archives in her closet. And, if you maybe wouldn't have made your show so from such a selfish perspective, it maybe would have gotten a 4th season. But I'm surprised it actually even got a 3rd season. Let's be real.
This
Let's
next one is really going to. This one's going to piss you off a lot.
Oh, you had these ordered? You had like.
No, I just know that this one was the one I was going to play last because was like, I was like, well, that explains everything. It explains their animosity for the viewers and how much they don't give a fuck about us or our continuity whatsoever. So get ready. This is also about Mia and the double Libra thing, which people have pointed out is wrong. Have you seen that all over the place? People being like, she wouldn't be a double Libra. Okay.
Because the baby would have had to been born in October, I think is what people were saying.
Yeah, well, they did know that, Joan. Here's what have to say.
Oh, I
great
heard this actually. And
Samantha
yes,
inspiration of she was going to abort, but then she realized it was going to be a double Libra, so she had to keep it. This
Also,
is not
that's
a
so
so
Unfortunately, I have
daughter-in-law.
friends who are like that.
As Rachel pitched,
Baby's
that's going
gonna
to
be
be
a
such a fucking vibe.
Such a
But the
fucking
reality is, I don't even
vibe.
know if the baby's going to be a double Libra. But after she pitched that, I was just like, it has to be double Libra. It
Yes.
doesn't matter when the
You
birth
can't
is.
beat it.
We don't care. Astrology, who
Well,
are going to
people
call
will be
us up and
writing
say
it.
there's no way it could be a double Libra. We don't care.
The Neil deGrasse Tysons are figuring out the star charts right now.
Anyway,
Like,
We don't care.
we don't care because it's our inside joke. So fuck you.
Also,
All of
please
you-
tell
all of
me,
you
was there a
astrology
soul
people
on
out there?
Earth that laughed at the baby or her being like, "Yeah, I was gonna abort it, but then I found out it was a double Libra, so I'm keeping it."
And
Did
what they
anyone
were-
on Earth laugh at that?
What they were saying was
Maybe.
whoever pitched it in the room said double Libra, and they thought that there was nothing that would beat double Libra. And since they all had that moment in the writer's room of laughing at that moment of that person pitching it, they had to stick with double Libra instead of figuring out what the sign would actually be and just saying, double Scorpio or whatever. That's as much as they care about is just the laugh in the writer's room is all that matters.
I think in my head I've cracked the code. It's, hey guys, we got to go write another episode. Oh shit, let's go sit around. Okay, we sit in the room. What'd you guys do this week? I went to a restaurant and they had this like stuffed tomato. Oh, perfect. Let's use that. Or they just have like a board of sticky notes.
Yeah.
With a bunch of random ideas and they're like, okay, this episode we're gonna have the comptroller lose. We're gonna have George Washington lose comptroller. What dumb inside thing did you guys see this like in the last month that we could add to this? It's just like dumb. I don't think that's how you create a show. And I think that's probably why when he originally created Sex and the City, well, one, it was actually based off Candace Bushnell's book. Let's not forget that. So he didn't even create the character of Carrie Bradshaw. That was from Candace Bushnell's book, Sex and the City. So maybe that's the problem.
I think another major problem because throughout this whole podcast episode, they're talking about how they're empowering Carrie and single life. And Carrie actually is fine with it. And this is great for some. I think it would have maybe been really helpful to have a single person on the writer, like a single person on the writer's team
who is single. Yeah.
Who is the type of single that they want Carrie to, cocoon, like spread her wings and fly into?
That is true. The end tries to tell us that Carrie is not alone. She's on her own. And I don't think she is. And I don't think they did a good job of leading us to make us believe that. I don't think they showed her in any kind of way of doing that. And I don't think they knew how to tell that. Because I think in their mind, her saying that she's on her own is empowering. But
I think that each person thinks that it's actually very sad and like the worst possible fate. And that translates in how they wrote it. Is that it's like, ooh, it's too bad. Oh, but maybe next season there's still hope, Carrie, instead of having somebody that could maybe guide them through a day in the life of someone who's just fine with their own thoughts. And
so I don't think their ultimate story that they were telling at the end even was that Carrie was fine being alone. Because I've said it before, but if they did a season 4, there ain't no damn way that Carrie is not going to date a single man or do any, like, no.
Yep.
So, but maybe the phrase, the woman was not alone, she was on her own, doesn't really say she's going to be like on her own forever. So.
And then the double Libra thing and just the fact that they are like, we don't care. Well, people, like they're like mocking
really
the
were.
listeners here, and
they were like, "Oh, people are going to pull out the astrology charts. The Neil deGrasse Tysons are going to pull out the astrology charts
that
to check
matters
us."
to a lot of people, and it is a legitimate thing. It's like a degree in college. This is a legitimate thing, and they're just negating that and just like mocking the writer, the viewers that care about this continuity of the show.
Just as even not from an astrology point, but from a show creation point, you typically have something called like a show Bible that like keeps it keeps running information about stuff. It keeps like you on track, or it's like here's where we need to lead. How are we going to get there? And here are the details that got us there. But again, they had LTW's dad die twice, so what do we know?
But then even in that, did you know that the writers came out the next week and tried to retcon it? And they're like,
they're the type like I can't think of one of the famous people right now, but like they refuse to show weakness in saying,
admit they're wrong.
Just like they should just be like, it wasn't our best.
Exactly, because stuff like that has happened in other sitcoms, and I've seen writers address it like, "Oh shit, yeah, we forgot." Because when you think of it, we are watching The Office 27 times every year, but like the people that write it and perform it, it's once and then they don't think about it again. So like it's understandable if you're like, "Oh, I totally forgot that was a thing." That
is it though. If this is your baby, if this is you, like you have created this show.
The LTW dad thing happened within 2 seasons of a show, so it wasn't even like something they forgot about from Sex and the City days. No. That was unforgivable. And then for them to come out and say, "Yeah, no, we know." Well,
because they used. I'm sure in season 1, they again weren't thinking anything through. The way your curtain just moved looked like a fucking ghost just walked into.
I know, because Sully has his cone on and he's like walking around and he's being very.
Because they didn't think about continuity, because they didn't think about what the future of their show would be, they ended up. Hi, Sully.
Look at this. Is all chewed up. This is all chewed up.
Oh, other people chew up. Anyway, okay.
The other guy,
they don't think about continuity. Yeah. So that they look at if you were going to think about creating a story, an expanded story, they wasted the death of her father on a passing moment in their show, which was like, "Oh, I couldn't even handle it when my dad died." You wasted that. So like if you guys follow what I'm trying to say is like, if they were more caring, if they cared more. I mean, they said, "I don't care. We don't care." I mean, like, it can't actually get any clearer than that. And honestly, that feels kind of like a good place to end. They don't care. And guess what? You've made us. I mean, we do care because
we care. We care. You've made us mad at you. And for Sarah Jessica Parker to now come out in an interview saying that she also doesn't really, and it doesn't bother her that loyal 20-year fans of her show are angry. It doesn't bother me at all.
But she doesn't watch the show she executive produces, because she doesn't like to see herself on screen. Well, I have an idea. You're not in the entire episode. Maybe zoom around yourself if you're that butthurt. Or
Lena Dunham is out there directing herself, looking as busted as possible.
Again, it comes down to egos, and there are 2 big culprits here. And I'm going to believe Kim Cattrall. Sorry, not sorry.
Love her.
Justice for
wins.
Kim Cattrall.
She officially wins.
Yeah,
all right, guys. Next week on the roundup, it will be more of a regular roundup. As long as something happens, you guys are also free to maybe message us and be like, "You don't want to do that anymore."
Who knows? Who knows? We'll see what happens. Like, I think it's all an evolution, and really, if we have Sex and the City fans here, we should cater somewhat to our Sex and the City peeps.
Yeah.
Well, I've been thinking too. Are there any like movies that you guys think would be like in the vibe of Sex and the City? New ones coming? Like maybe we should go see a rom-com and then do a rom-com movie review or something.
Suggest stuff, but
maybe that would be more in line. than horror movies and stuff. Check out our Patreon. It's patreon.com/pod in the city. This week we did Vanderpump Rules. We're starting up season 2 of RuPaul's Drag Race All Stars, the season, baby.
Oh, God,
starting
so good.
soon, so get in there. We also did a live reaction of this week, so you also get ad-free, uncut episodes of everything, early access to stuff. You get an extra episode every week. We do Girls, Smash, all kinds of stuff. Go join it. Also hit subscribe, hit like, share, all that stuff. And we love you guys so much, and we'll see you later.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Is it this one? No. Sure. But also join us on Fridays for the live stream.
Yay.
Right? Yay. Bye.